Welcome everybody back to Friend or Foes Heroic League Week 3, Day 1. We got Blue Bayou Zoo versus In the Trees for our second game of the night. Once again, my name is Whirler, and casting alongside me again, we have Found.
Hello friends, I'm glad to be back for this next game. Really excited to see two of the best teams in the league square off. And this is just going to be a really barn burner of a game with what I'm hearing of what we're going to be seeing soon.
Absolutely, and the bands, we're going to start it off as Nocturne, Shen, and Gragas on the blue side, where on the red side we have Hecarim, Vlad, and Janna taking off the table, with a Lulu first pick coming out for Blue Bayou Zoo, and INT locking in the Sejuani Nautilus.
So that's a lot of CC being picked up on the side of INT already. It's going to be interesting to see where they go, since they do have multiple flex picks if INT has the players. So the Sejuani can go both jungle and top, and you can technically still play the Nautilus mid if you're a big Doinby fan. So let's see where they're going to put some of these champions. But I like the amount of CC that they picked up already.
Absolutely, and Victor being picked up for Blue Bayou's mid laner and locking in the bot lane as well. Sivir Lulu being locked in for BBZ, giving them, I would say, a very interesting kind of trade going on for BBZ's bot lane. Could be definitely countered. The Nautilus, the Sivir is a good pick into Nautilus. However, it could still turn into a few other things, as it's going to be, barring that it isn't a flex pick, we can see a Jinx Nautilus in the bot lane, and that's a lot of engage for a champion that doesn't really thrive too well in the early game. Neither of these champions do, except for maybe Sivir Lulu. I'd say Lulu pairing with Sivir gives a little bit of damage. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like what BBZ is going for. They've always been a really standardized team. They basically play the meta and don't tend to stray too far. They really need to look to lock in they really are looking to lock in a lot more dive to go with this Sivir to really pressure this backline, especially since Sivir is going to get so much value out of what they've already drafted. The Lulu can take heal, Sivir can take cleanse for the Sejuani R, and then still for E for the Nautilus ultimate or Q. So Sivir is going to be in a really good spot. Let's just see if they manage to round out their composition with heavy dive to really pressure this Jinx.
Absolutely, as we are seeing the Jinx once again, second time of the night. Very popular pick coming out, as it's going to be Camille Renekton taken off the board against INT, and Lilia Cho'Gath taken off the board against BBZ. Very top lane focused. 3 top laners out of those 4 are being taken out for the whole board. Really not too worried about a jungler. Really not too worried about what's the other one? No, not a jungler, but they are taking a bunch of top laners off the board, as it's going to be Orianna locked in for the side of INT, a mid laner. That was the one I'm looking for. He is going to lock in the Orianna 4 in the trees.
Yeah, that guarantees that the Nautilus will not be going mid. I lose out on my excitement of having that be the case, but this is, for Blue Bio, at least them taking this Udyr is really good. That's another champion that pairs really well with Sivir. You have that point-and-click CC. Now, Udyr has a lot to walk through already with the team, but he is going to have the Lulu supporting him. But this 5th pip is really going to round out what this draft is going to be, and BBZ needs to index into a top laner that provides a lot of backline threat. And it looks like they're going to take the Set. So Set can do that. He does have the Sejuani to ult back into the team. The Nautilus is going to be building a lot of HP also. So I like what they've picked here. Set has tended to be on the lower of value side, as he's not the nerfs. The last set of nerfs hit him quite hard. But if he does get a solid matchup, he has a lot of openings to really pressure onto the back line, especially since he has 2 immobile carries to deal with.
And that's going to be a third big boy that Set gets to throw into the team, as it is going to be a top Volibear coming in for the side of In the Trees, and that's going to conclude that draft. It's got Sejuani jungle. I haven't seen that one in a while. How do you feel about that right now?
So this is the Bow Explode special. He's always played a lot of Sejuani, so him taking that is not a super big surprise. They have the Jinx and the Orianna, so they wanted to get a bunch of meatballs. Basically, INT has established a really standardized composition like minus just Sejuani, this is something you would see in high level pro play. This is the Orianna has been one of the strongest mid laners as of recent, and they have a lot of CC and damage to really follow up. And it's going to be on BBZ to find angles, utilize their damage. They have a more diverse damage profile, with top being able to distribute some. Mid's going to be really heavy into this really standard Victor Orianna matchup, and the Lulu's there to amplify everything. So they need to really pressure the high range champions, which is just going to be the Jinx, because if she's allowed to free fire, INT is just going to have a really easy job cleaning up these scene fights with the low range of Sivir.
Absolutely. In the top lane, we have Shihu, I think I said that right, versus Broccoli 900. In the jungle, we have Dax versus Bo Explode 87. Lights versus Evolve Noob in the mid lane. And the bot laners, we have Champion Red and Cross Songo versus Kenny Hammer Spike versus, or Kenny Hammer Spike and not versus, Hugo Slops. And it is going to be quite a game going on here. Who do you think your prediction is going to be for winning this game?
I don't know. So my brain is telling me INT because their comp is just so easy to execute. It's really difficult to make a lot of mistakes given what they have, but BBZ has been playing super well. I've been really impressed with their macro. I know some of the players on their team, they have really solid communication skills, and they have the tools to win this game. It's just going to be really executed on, are they able to really utilize their team fight in a way that's going to pressure these two really immobile champions that are going to be vulnerable to the CC that they have.
Absolutely, and they did go for a 5-man walk through the mid lane looking to get a pick on someone, did not find anything, got spotted out by the Victor, and so they disperse into a 5-point versus 5-point neutral. It is going to be looking like a bot start on each side. Udyr looking to full clear, but how do you feel about Sejuani in this matchup? Do you think she's going to be going for a full clear, or do you think she's going to be going for early ganks?
So if Sejuani is going to attempt to match the Udyr, that's just a battle that she's not going to win. So I would expect her to try to go into a 3-camp, into a crab, to try to get some type of advantage, because if Udyr makes it there first, he'll be level 4, and you just cannot contest at that point. So honestly, this is a game where I could expect that Dax could just get an easy double scuttle and have a pretty decent advantage from the early game. So it's going to be up to him to further that advantage later on.
It's going to be good trades coming out from both solo laners. It's going to be Shihu and Broccoli taking an even trade, but Victor against Orianna in the mid lane. Victor getting a couple good Qs on the Ori early, is going to find a hook on Sivir. Nautilus looking to engage that. Proc the Aftershock, take little damage from that. Sivir poking back at the Jinx, and it's going to be a rather even trade across the board despite getting hooked in.
Yeah, they have a lot of follow-up damage, and Nautilus is level 1 into certain enchanters like the Lulu isn't the greatest. You can just kind of out-tank the damage until you get to a couple extra points until the trap goes down and you can really pressure. So I'm really happy with how BBZ is playing this early lane. They're going to have the push, and they're not going to be under too much pressure, so they can get some scaling onto this Lulu.
They did force the pot out of Sivir already. Jinx does have that potion advantage, which not too far behind in HP. Is about a potion behind the Sivir, so it is kind of even still, despite still having that in her ranks. Is going to land the E on the Orianna. Victor still putting on the poke. Volibear, being his Volibear he is going to push Set into tower really early. And take a quick little trade, kind of a little even too, as Victor, putting some more pressure on Orianna. How do you feel so far? It looks like Sejuani has actually gone for a full clear. Hecarim, wow. Good engage onto the top lane. He's going to face breaker into the Volibear. They're going to flash. That was insane coming from Shihu, predicting the flash onto the Volibear before the W punch comes in, is going to reposition it with his own flash at the same exact time as Volibear, and is going to get the kill for that. Isn't going to trade either. That was very well played from Shihu, as it is
really well played. And here comes the gank.
Orianna forced her to flash away as well, but she is going to go down to both flashes coming out from the jungler and the mid laner. That's a 2-0 start for BBZ. How do you feel about what just happened? Go on.
Yeah, that was a really well played on the side of Shihu getting that reposition, and basically my expectation has kind of come together. They are going to be able to pick up the double crab onto the Udyr. This is a massive advantage that BBZ has gotten just from laning phase. A little bit unexpected to have a solo kill going in the top lane, but it's great that they have it. And with Orianna dropping, the Udyr is just in a massive spot with getting an assist, getting an advantage. He could easily 2-level in this game, and if BBZ manages to maintain this advantage into the Dragons, they're going to be in a really, really solid spot.
Absolutely. And it's looking like Jinx pushing pretty hard down here. Is level 4 right now. Does have a little bit of uneven XP with her support. Isn't going to be too far ahead, though. Still pretty even in this bot lane. Usually we see all the action start to happen in the bot lane. Not this game. No, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting a first blood in the top lane. This is very good as Volibear is looking to have at it again. Is going to stun up and get the slow on to set. He's going to get the shield and salvage a little bit of health for himself, but is going to lose out on that trade, unfortunately. Is going to go for it again. Does land the face breaker on Volibear, get half of his HP, even out that trade, and walk away.
Yeah, Broccoli needs to be concerned here. The wave is in a really disadvantageous spot. Set's gonna hit 6 first, and it can look to make a play at that point. So and Shihu is really trying to punish. He's going for a freeze here. He's gonna cancel the back, and he's now gonna chase into this volley.
That is very good though. The slow is gonna land. He's gonna get the shield from the slow. Isn't gonna be enough as the speed from the Q isn't enough. He actually does get out of that alive. I just learned something. Does set Q give movement speed?
It gives movement speed moving towards a target.
That is something worth noting, as it is going to be Sejuani jumping on Shihu. Is he going to get out of this one? No, the stun does connect, and he will go down. Almost getting the return kill onto Volley, but is not going to be enough.
Yeah, he didn't get that W off before the stun would have went through. Either or, it would have been kind of difficult to get away after the Q had already landed. He would have needed to dodge that. But that kind of puts him in a really bad spot because now the wave is pushing into the Volibear. He's going to be able to look for a freeze. I really think that Dax is going to need to come up and help him if they're going to be able to get him out of this disadvantageous lane state.
A good trade coming out from the bot lane on both sides. Hook does land on Lulu, does get rooted up, is taken very low. Heal coming out from the Sivir isn't going to be enough to take Cross Songo down. But Kenny is looking to maybe get some more out of this. Sivir pumping out the spell shield isn't going to be blocking anything. No mana return is going to be forced to back under tower, back off under tower. Lulu's going to back herself. It's going to be the end of that trade, though. Sejuani is lying in the wing of mid lane, looking to get this ulti onto Victor. Is going to land the stun. Is going to have 2 stuns coming out. A good Orianna ult as well. Going to pull Lights out of the fight. Or not even out of the fight, though. He drops the ulti on Bow Explode. Bow Explode taken very low, but no kills have coming out yet. No flash on the Victor to get out of that, yet he still lives. It is going to be a neutral in the mid lane.
Yeah, this is a really odd game state, especially since Dax seems to have squandered a lot of that early advantage that he had, trying to help out his lanes a little bit more than necessary, as he's now lost his experience advantage. It's the Sejuani who hits 6 first in this matchup and can get that first mid lane pressure gank, but really well played stun placement on the Victor to get the stun down onto the Sejuani and prevent any follow-up damage, so his death is negated. So they're still in a pretty decent spot, and with the way Lights has been playing, he is going to be a really big focal point in the later stages of this game.
Absolutely. We've seen Fed Victors in this tournament before, and it's not pretty. No, it isn't. As he does have a 13 CS lead on the Orianna, putting a lot of pressure up in this top lane. Inversely, in the top lane, despite having a really amazing start with the first blood, Set is going to be down almost 30 CS in the top lane. That is going to be a huge deficit for him as he struggles to get his first item that he needs so much.
Yeah, that freeze did manage to affect him, and he is going to be looking for this trade. I don't think he's going to come out on the ways for this. Looks like he's been dropping a lot of CS, and the freeze that Broccoli did have for a short period of time has contributed to the CS advantage, and they really need to look for a play to kind of neutralize what has already been accrued here.
And it looks like Udyr was looking for it. Sweeps up in the top lane, finds a few wards, and a bear in the jungle. Isn't going to be enough to start anything. Sejuani is going to be there as well, starting up the red buff. This could be a topside fight as Victor is looking to rotate himself. getting some vision on to the red bush. Isn't going to be too much happening as Udyr is looking to clear this Rift Herald pit out and look to maybe continue on to this. Has Rift Herald spawned? Yes, it has. It looks like he's going to be starting the Rift Herald uncontested. Does have a ward on it. No responses to it. Looks like Udyr is going to take the Rift Herald uncontested. Didn't make a noise. Good spell shield from Sivir. Not going to be able to get hooked in at that point. Does get some mana back. Thank you very much. Does get a trade onto the Jinx. No return Q, but does get an auto Q onto her for a quarter of her HP. That is going to be the Rift Herald going to Udyr in the top lane. Definitely can use this to help put Set back in the game, but also could use this for a lot of different purposes. What do you think?
Yeah, basically this has been a pretty decent example of how INT manages to constantly maintain these advantages. But here's a gank, so I'm actually going to hold off on that point. They shouldn't kill him here, so he's probably just going to walk it out. But they're really smart about how they play their lanes, especially in their solos. This wave has just been in a disadvantageous spot for the set consistently for the last couple of minutes, with the wave constantly being frozen onto the Volibear side of the map. And if this is how you play lane, you can put yourself in a really solid position in the mid game, basically consistently. If you can put the player where he has to play aggressively into you.
Despite being down in CS, the set's taking a lot of very good trades for himself, bringing Brock Lee very, very, very low, dangerously low, if I'd say so myself. As Shiho looks to maybe make another face breaker and hopefully go for a kill with the ultimate. Who knows how that'll go, with Brock Lee is putting up the shield and maybe get some safe CS. Dragon has spawned. That's going to be the second dragon of the game. Udyr earlier soloed that Cloud, which did give them an early dragon advantage, but once again, like you said before, did put him behind the previous advantage he had. Set's going to ult the Volibear out of the turret. Volibear is going to ulti onto him. He's going to flash out of that just fine. Shihu is looking to make this trade worth for him, but he's going to be taken very low. Brock Lee and Shihu are neck and neck, and he is going to go down to Shihu. That's another kill going into his pocket. Maybe he can catch back up in CS from this as well.
Yeah, that is a series of unfortunate events for both players, but it looks like that Shihu is going to get that advantage. And here comes the flash. That's going to walk back into it.
The Nautilus going to get the stun onto Udyr, force the flash out. Sejuani going wide, and Sivir is going to be running a train on this now. Killing Nautilus is going to go down. Polymorph coming out on the Orianna. Ooh, one more slow from the Victor W. Isn't going to quite get a stun in the top side of that fight. Is going to be Jinx going down to the Udyr Lulu. Flash coming out from Sivir to chase down this Orianna. Orianna is in the alcove. Isn't going to get out of this one too pretty. Is going to go down to Sivir, and that is going to be Ocean Drake for Blue Bayou Zoo.
Yeah, really well played. This is exactly how BBZ wanted to play this game. They've managed to accrue advantages into their lanes. No one is behind. This negates the usual advantage that INT does have, where their laners can kind of just outperform the majority of the league. And this puts BBZ in such a strong position going into this mid game. They're going to basically be at a 4,000 gold lead after this Rift Herald play, and their comp does have all the tools they need to be able to take the game.
Absolutely, and there goes the charge, and that's going to be almost 3,000 gold ahead for Blue Bayou Zoo. We got no more objectives for the next 2.5 minutes. I want to see what these players can do with their advantages / disadvantages, and how we're going to set up for the next objective.
Yeah, Shihu has been having a really... now Shihu has gotten the lane in his spot. This will freeze if he does hold it here, but it looks like there's going to be a gank here.
Good gank coming out from Udyr. Going to stun him up. Get a good ulti from the set to bring him further back. Volibear doesn't have the ulti out of this. He does Direst Flash into the wall, eating that tree. You hate to see it, but that is going to be Set and Udyr taking down the Volibear.
Oh, that is...
I thought I heard you take your headset off after that.
Oh yes, I'm still here. That is a sad, unfortunate state of it. That is a very difficult wall to flash. You have to be basically right up on it. So that's one of the locations we see the failed flash most often. But that could just take away a lot of the CS advantages he managed to accrue. And now that he's died 3 times, this is just plates going over to the set, and he's probably just going to be in a way stronger spot when they come back on this reset.
He's going to TP back to defend the tower. Kenny's taking the low, and he's actually going to go down on the Sivir queue. Good fight coming out from the Sivir, and Lulu all in. There's going to be no contest there. Let's see how this one breaks out. as it looks
Yeah,
like a
this.
quick neutral. Nautilus going to look for a hook. Isn't going to be too much. Just get the ulti on Lulu, giving Sivir the front load advantage. Sivir is actually going to just ignore all of that, take down the Jinx as well as the Nautilus. Oof. Good fight coming out for the two of them.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a mismanagement of the spell usage on the behalf of the Nautilus. He could have just walked up to the Sivir, got the auto, forced out the spell shield, and then just got a free R. So Sivir is CC'd. If you are the Lulu, he's just gonna R the Sivir, and then he's gonna have every tool to just obliterate the Jinx. And this is the kind of laning advantage that this is something INT is used to getting. Now BBZ has it. Like, are they gonna be able to come back when they don't have such a dramatic gold advantage from lane?
Absolutely. It looks like Champion Red is going to deny some more CS from the side of in the trees before he takes that tower. And that is going to be the first tower of the game going to Blue Bayou Zoo. Nautilus is back in the fray though. He's walking pretty fast on Sivir. Does get the root. Does shield the hook, it looks like, brings Nautilus very low. That's going to be good response coming out from both top laners and mid laners using their TP to keep the Sivir shut down from going to the side of in the trees.
Yeah, that is really well played. If I gave a little bit of criticism, I said they could have waited a bit longer for Sivir. Sivir had plenty of HP. If she manages to kite out a little bit longer, definitely the Jinx walks in further, and then you probably get both of them. But still, very well executed, saving those teleports until you can get an advantage out of them. And now they can just get a rotation where Set's going bot. Now they're getting them. If Set doesn't die here, they're in a really good spot to just get accrue even a larger gold advantage.
Absolutely. Orion with the speed up isn't going to land the hook on set. Champion Red's now in the top lane against both the tanks of in the trees as the rest of Blue Bayou Zoo looks to start this Rift Herald. Going to get 2 Rift Heralds for themselves. Dragon's not coming up for another minute and a half, so there's going to be no contest for a different objective, as it looks like is going to just be an uncontested Rift Herald going to the side of Blue Bayou Zoo once again. Sivir grouping back up with the team, and they're going to look to siege mid with this, it looks like.
Yeah, this is probably just going to be the mid lane opening up. They are in position to dive, or he's just going to have to get out of here if she doesn't want to die. And this is just another set of advantages over to BBZ, getting this big mid placement. Their Herald is spotting. They could probably just look to push for a second one also.
Absolutely, as the Rift Herald charge is going down, Sivir Poke coming out onto the Orianna, bringing her below half. Isn't going to be enough to start anything, as they are going to give up the mid tier 2. Said Juwani off to the side, but it's not going to matter. There goes Shelly. See you next game, Shelly, as we have the Dragon coming up in 30 seconds. With both teams recalling, let's see which team can get the priority on this first.
Yep, and they're kind of trying to move in forward for the next objective. The Dragon's going to be spawning. I think this should just be BBZ's. I don't expect INT to try to fight this. They are in a really, really difficult spot right now. And any more of an advantage, if you take this fight, then you lose Baron. So they probably should just give this up. Just let Soul Point go over. It's not the end of the world. And just really try to contest the Soul. Because at this point, I don't even think that they could win a team fight, even if they tried.
Absolutely. Sivir up an item and a half on the Jinx. In the mid lane, a whole item for Victor. It's kind of even in the jungle, but inversely in the top lane, Set has finished his Stride Breaker and is almost, I believe that is going to be a dead man's plate for him. Definitely big item advantages. The Set does get engaged on, is going to eat a Nautilus ulti too. He's going to be rooted up. Orianna forced to flash out of the top side of that engage. They're not going to get much except a couple of used abilities. There goes Nautilus's entire engage, though.
Yeah, so let's see if BBZ manages to close out cleanly now that they've gotten such a big advantage. What we typically see, especially in the heroic league, is that the mid game can really stall out when teams don't know what objective to prioritize when there's not a dragon or a baron available. So let's see if they manage to properly move people into the lanes to get these to basically get these towers down purely by rotation, so you don't need to take any more fights.
All right, and still looking pretty neutral. How do you feel this game? He hasn't turned the Noon Quiver into anything yet. I love this debate on Sivir specifically. Which of the 80 carry items do you think is best? I feel like this game specifically, a Gale Force could be very viable. There are a lot of things for Sivir to dodge, and having that extra utility gives you a lot. However, Kraken Slayer could be another alternative as well due to there being 3 tanks on the enemy team. How do you feel about this?
I think in this game you probably definitely go Kraken Slayer. You really need to trust yourself to play around these big tanks, and not having that extra burst, that ability to melt through them, is just too much of a disadvantage coming to Lake. And you know Jinx is going to have the Kraken Slayer, and you really need to match that. Plus, you have a Lulu on your side who amplifies your auto attack damage. So getting that true damage from the Kraken Slayer is going to get even more value just by the mere fact that you have a Lulu who could even go the Moonstone or the Renewer. They already have the Renewer, so I think Kraken Slayer is the correct item at this point.
Alrighty, it looks like Blue Bayou Zoo is just going to run straight into in the trees jungle, take everything, not even clear the wards. You get to watch this happen as they are looking to siege in the top lane, get some more tier 2s for themselves. Broccoli facing off against the set in a dance off. Don't know who's winning that one quite yet, but we have Blue Bayou Zoo bringing up the wave, and let's see if we can get a fight going on in here, as we do have Victor with the TP pushing up the bot lane. There's a couple good instances for an engage here. I don't see too much happening just yet, as it is in the trees pushing up. Ulti is going to be on Shihu. Shihu is going to be focused here, but was it Dox? Dox is going to engage onto them as well. Stunned up, Kenny's one shot from Champion Red's damage going to be finished off by the set. Broccoli's in the front taking a lot of damage as well, is going to go down, traded for Shihu, and that is going to be a 1-for-2 trade going on in the top lane. There's still 3 members of Blue Bayou Zoo and a wave coming in about, I would say, 10 seconds. Let's see if they would like to take this tower or if they would like to set up for bigger and better things.
Yeah, the wallets are just too big at the moment. They're not really going to have an advantage in any of these fights coming later on. So we need to see if they can just maybe get a pick around the Baron, look to secure it, or they can't take it right now, or maybe get a smite steal on the side of Bow Explode to maintain this advantage moving on into the later stages, because at the moment the gold advantage is so large that it'd be really difficult to find an advantageous team fight in any shape where BBZ can't just brute force them.
Absolutely, and they did get the crab for the Baron. It is going to help them set up some future vision in that area. That is going to be key to keeping their advantage, although the item advantage is huge for BBZ. I think it's far greater because INT, if they are in the trees, literally in vision, they could probably get a pick on one of these champions that have a big shutdown for hopefully a carry if they were to get it. I feel like if BBZ play around an objective with poor vision, one of them can eventually get caught out. How do you feel about that?
I think that since the next objective is going to be this dragon, if the Mountain Soul goes over here, that's a disaster for INT. They basically can never kill anyone after that with all the tankiness that they're going to be getting and the fact that they've already accrued so many advantages. So this is going to be a really, really big fight. You see that everyone's on the map for it, and we're going to just wait for the Sivir to see when this engage is going to start.
We do have Dax off to the side. Is getting to the dragon a little bit late. We do have INTs clumped up and together. That is definitely being pushed off, though, as our BBZ is walking forward, threatening this dragon. This is going to be Soul. Sejuani is off to the side. They're engaging onto the set. Set is going to bring them all towards the back line, and they're actually going to turn. This is going to be Sivir and Lulu pumping out damage through Sivir's auto attacks. Look at those ricochets go. Along with Victor's damage, that is an insane AoE fight right there. The ricochets under a Victor ult. Let's break this down, Found.
So basically, this is actually Set starting off the team fight in a really disadvantageous spot. He's overextended, and it looks like Mr. Sunga misclicked his R and went for the Udyr instead of the Set. But look at how much CC and how much survivability he manages to get out here. He's gonna get into the fight in just a second. He's gonna walk in. The stun field is already down. He's basically in here 1v5, taking all the damage. The shield is huge. She's gonna get that R that's gonna get the multiple damage. Now Ori has to back off. She's taking so much damage. They're all when there's a 4-man knockup on the side of the Lulu, and then you just get melted by the Victor Sivir. There's nothing to do at this point. The Sivir is just too strong. The Victor is too strong. There's really no escape that's gonna be provided after that. And you're just in a spot where there's just nothing you can do, where the wallets are just too big.
The wallets are indeed too big, and that's going to be Dax going back to the Mountain Drake as they do push down this mid-tier 3. They're going to get both the soul and an inhib off of this team fight as Jinx Nautilus are coming up in 5 seconds. Are they going to go for it? They are not. They're actually going to back off. Udyr is going to finish this dragon. Are they looking to recall and start Baron? They could be. I don't think they're going to be immediately starting Baron. I feel like they should at least spend some gold first. Do you think? Ooh. That's a very close steal coming out from the good Jinx rocket. It is going to land onto him. But Found, how do you feel about this current setup for Baron right now? Sivir has not yet pumped out a recall. As opposed to the rest of Blue Bayou heading to the base to spend their gold. Do you feel like they even need to spend any more gold on this game, or do you feel like it's time to just ARAM it and kind of force this Baron? There's nothing they can do about it.
I think that this is one of those situations where playing the Baron is well, actually this was a pick on. I don't think you can kill this Udyr though.
They might have trouble as Udyr is a thick boy. He's running out of that unscathed. There's going to be Jinx caught out of position. Udyr is taking a low, does eat the Lulu ulti. Nautilus is going to be 1 HP going down to Lights. Lights is going to be pushing forward with the ultimate, but a good Orianna ult disengages that fight from continuing on, as it's going to be Shihu threatening more, but I don't think he's going to find anything as Blue Bayou Zoo look to push the Baron off of this. Finally, 24 minutes in, I feel like they finally are able to get this one uncontested. The Nautilus, not too big of a pick to really ensure that this is theirs. Yeah,
that's absolutely just a desperation play. I'm not sure. You're going against trying to pick an Udyr with Mountain Soul. It's going to take you so long to kill him. You're really hoping that they're really so far away that you're never going to do this. But this is just going to be a smite 50-50.
Oh my god, it's going to be Volibear stealing their Baron away from Blue Bayou Zoo with just that. Nothing else. No smite, no nothing. Let's watch that again, as he's just going to be over the wall, waiting for all this to happen. He's walking around. Look at Brock Lee go. They're going to start the Baron. I feel like that, ladies and gentlemen, might have just been a desperation play. Volibear really sticking it to him on that one. Don't know how this happened, but let's see. It's actually going to be the pseudo smite. It's the Volibear E that's going to take that out. That is very well played. Is going to trade the Sejuani for it, but that's a Baron for in the trees.
Okay, I've been really light on my flame today. That is absolutely inexcusable on the side of BBZ to allow that steal to even occur. You have the Sejuani is sitting over the backside. You have Set R available. Just Set R the Sejuani out. They cannot walk in and fight, and then an E steal is not going to happen if you're not threatened by the Sejuani being in the pit when you have it. We have to communicate better into that environment so things like this don't happen. They're still in a huge advantage. They'll probably still take the game, but if there's something to take away, is something that should really never occur when you have these set of champions in the game.
Absolutely, and it's going to be, I think, still very neutral despite having the Baron. They're not going to be able to do too much with it. It looks like they're still up almost 10 gay gold for Blue Bayou Zoo. Isn't going to be very threatened by anything in the trees has to offer with this Baron power play. Don't necessarily see too much fighting going on, though. The Baron, I guess, is enough to tell Blue Bayou Zoo to sort of play it cool for the next 3.5 minutes. But how do you feel about what Blue Bayou Zoo's game plan should be after the Baron has expired?
So basically, after the Baron has expired, they don't want this game to stall out any further because there is a lot of scaling options on the side of the INT. That Death Cap could come in soon. Now, it's not going to do as much damage as the Orianna because the Orianna has chosen to go Lucidity Boots, so she doesn't have any Magic Pin, which really gives the Shockwaves that oomph. But there's going to be there's a lot of concern of this game stalling out and them just being able to eventually tank through everything and kind of run the Sivir down, because she's going to be your main your main damage threat. So I really want to see how BBZ closes out in the future, especially considering they need to get this game done in the next 6 or 7 minutes or so.
And that's going to be, if you look at the items of INT, they're going to have 3 separate Thornmails. How do you feel about that?
So they have the Elder is also going to be spawning, so that's probably going to be the next man. If BBZ can manage to secure Elder, the game is basically over. So I think that should be the biggest priority. You have 2 minutes on it. You can start setting up, get some CS onto your set in the side lane, and just chill for a little bit. We want to chill, relax. We won't want to do anything until these next objectives spawn.
Absolutely. And it's going to be Blue Bayou Zoo getting into the bottom jungle first. It's still a minute and a half on the Drake spawn. Isn't going to be too bad for them. However, it is going to be Udyr. Oh, he's finding the team. Nautilus going wide on the hook. No real engage off of that one. Udyr doing Udyr things. He's saying, throw things at me. I want to dodge it. I like to see it coming out from the Fed Udyr. They're stalling this out. They still have a long way to go. 1 more minute on the Dragon. Udyr is still playing with his food, though. He is not caring in the world. Polymorph onto the Sejuani is going to get hooked in. Udyr going to take a little bit of a stun as well. Going to take a knock up as well. There goes a TP from the set. Now we got a fight going, ladies and gentlemen. Volibear off to the side, not yet in this fight. Good Settle going to come down, get him into the back line. Now Jinx is taking the low into the back, while Orianna goes down in the front. That's going to be 3 people going down already. There doesn't even need to be an Elder Drake, ladies and gentlemen. They could just end it right here. That is going to be Udyr with the double kill, and that's going to be a clean 4-for-0 fight for Blue Bayou Zoo. And that's going to be Volibear dancing it up in the base. Not going to be able to get too much out of that. I don't think they can end. They don't really have the wave. They can definitely look to either get 2 inhibs out of here and run to the Elder Drake and go from there.
Yeah, they're going to have to look to end through this bot lane. I think this is probably the game. You have 10 seconds on the Jinx. You can at least get the double inhib. They may choose to back out just to play it safe because the Elder is spawning, and any kills given over would give the enemy team Elder, and that's basically their only shot at winning. But it looks like the Elder is going to be the next spot. This is going to be another fight if the red team isn't going to just go for getting choked out. And let's see if they manage to even make it here in time, because this is going to just die.
It is going to get shredded as it's already taken to a quarter HP. Jinx throwing an early rocket, helping them out to get it done faster. There's going to be no contest. It is going to go straight to Blue Bayou Zoo. Definitely very interesting, as it looks like Jinx has finally picked up her Phantom Dancer, and also does have a BF sword and a Last Whisper. Is she going for, is that a, no, that's not Sorelda's. Is that just 2 different, was she building 3 items at the same time?
Yeah, she wanted to just get some extra attack speed in before she completed the Lord Doms. She was really trying to sit onto the Last Whisper, but I guess she had enough gold to just finish PD, grab BF, and she's really kind of hesitant to just finish the Lord Doms here. But this is just Ori called out. She's not going to make it out.
She is going to flash out, but it's not going to be enough. Set's going to get the W on her, and that's going to be Mr. Elder Drake picking her up. Oh boy, Orianna getting caught out at a very unfortunate time.
Yeah, that's probably just the game here. You can just group top, run them down with Sivir R if they even attempt to try to fight out of the tower. You've already got 2 inhibs taken down. If you get the 3rd one, that's going to be double supers in both waves. So this is probably going to be a wrap up here. Let's see how this last fight goes, because the KDA King Champion Red is trying to get legendary before the game is over. So let's see if he managed to accrue that moniker. But here it goes. Here's the Sivir R.
Alrighty, that's the Sivir R with the engage. Sejuani missing the Q on them, going a little bit wide. Set's going to flash into the back line, going to one-shot the Jinx with the Victor E, and they're going to get decimated. Not even close, with Sivir and Victor damage going AoE with a good lockdown for Set. That is going to be the end of Game 2. Blue Bayou Zoo is going to take INT by storm in this game number 2. And that is going to be the end of this game. INT, previously undefeated, is going down.
Yep, really well played on the side of BBZ. They have a lot to be proud of how they executed their game. They basically outplayed in every single lane, and they took away what INT's advantages typically are, and basically made it their own. I'm really impressed with the macro that was demonstrated from how they played, and just look at these damage charts. INT just never had a hope in any of these fights, and the damage from Victor, the damage from Sivir, like this, they just completely just outdid their counterparts this game.
Absolutely. It's not even going to be close for even players on Blue Bayou Zoo. Victor taking this game by storm, making it his own. We've seen how fed Victors play in this tournament, and honestly, it is insanely scary. Udyr doing a good job at keeping that dragon control down this game. Got a very early soul. Took a dragon, I believe, pretty much on spawn, I believe. Very, very quick objective control coming out from Udyr. Set with insane plays in the top lane, playing from a CS deficit too. Was able to play the lane his own way and actually come out of the lane phase on top of the Volibear by a long shot. Where in the bot lane, it looked pretty even for such a long time until one fight broke out, and Champion Red and Lulu just did not stop snowballing.
Yeah, that was just a beautiful game on the side of INT. I'm sorry, on the side of BBZ, getting everything that they wanted, and I'm just ecstatic that we got to witness such a fantastic game and see the reigning champions finally take a loss.
Absolutely. And that's going to conclude game number 2 for us today. Thank you so much for having us here casting. My name is Whirler, and this was Found. Go ahead and give yourself a outro, at least for yourself, before we head off into our interview.
Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. That's going to be it for us. We hope you guys enjoyed the sound of our soothing voices as we go through some immaculate play from all four teams that we saw today. And thank you very much for FOF for having both of us on. And we'll take it to the interview.
Yeah, stay tuned, everybody. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, everyone. Chris Edgeworth again, back for the interview with the victorious Dax from Blue Bayou Zoo. How's it feeling after that win?
Feeling pretty good. It was a solid win. I'm glad that I didn't die that game.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate top diff with the, Chihu being a dirty inter, costing the perfect game. Never forget.
Yeah, no, he does do that. We were talking about it in the post-game lobby for sure.
He owes you guys now. You can just hold it over his head for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about what it feels like now, having dealt. You advanced to 4-1 as in the trees falls to 4-1 as well. You dealt first blood to them. How does that feel?
It feels pretty good, especially since we were dealt a loss last week against UB in not the best game for our BBZ. So, we came this week with a plan, hoping to perform, and I feel like we executed it like extremely well against the former champions of the league. And it's feeling really good to see a whole bunch of 0 deaths except for our inter top laner. So, yeah.
As usual, it's always top diff. You can never get away from it. So on that note, though, these being the victorious in the trees, Bo Explode breaks out the El Clasico Sejuani, as he is known for, and you match up against it with the initial D Udyr. How did you feel on this matchup against Bo throughout this game?
I felt really comfortable into it. I mean, Udyr's definitely top tier jungle still, right? Continues to micro nerf him, just not enough. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Sejuani personally myself, and we kind of knew what their team's formula was capable of doing, and then when both top laners kind of trade and died early, like it just gave me free reign of Bo's bot side early on. Like I was never able to take Bo's jungle because he was power farming on the Sedge, which was a bit of a surprise that game, but being Udyr, I was able to keep pace and then just make the plays where I wanted to on their mid lane for lights.
Nice. So after the game went well for you in the beginning, and then it went well the whole time, but there was a little bit of a stumble that I think we gotta ring the shame bell on you a little bit. You give away the Baron in a not even a 50-50. Like that was a full-on McDonald's burger flip right there. So how did that feel in the game? What was it like? Did you feel a moment where maybe this is where it's slipping?
Not at all, really. Honestly, we were hoping to bait them in a bit more. Honestly, it was my fault for not respecting the Volibear uncapped damage, because regardless of Sejuani getting into the pit, I would have been out damaged with the Volibear E. So that's just a bit of knowledge from not playing Volibear jungle myself, because it's one of those champions that's been recently buffed in patches, and I think it just caught everyone off guard on our team. But honestly, it just felt like they were trying to make a play there, and they didn't really get much off of it because they weren't even able to push with the Baron. So we just knew that we could play for Elder at that point and siphon off the gold.
Right on. Well, that was an awesome game. I mean, absolutely, the scoreboard shows it. You absolutely smothered them. 28-3 victory for you. Dax, thanks again for joining us for an interview. Any final words before we go? Ditch INT and embrace BBZ. There you go. Wise words, folks. Diamond hands on BBZ to the moon. All right? You heard it here first. Folks, stick around. We'll be back with Game 3. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.